Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Spice. My name is DJ Mickey D, and we are here with Season 3 premiere of The Spice. I'm so excited. We're back here at Club Curious. It looks beautiful. John's here doing stuff in the back, getting ready for a big party here on Thursday night. Just a lot of really exciting things going on. I'm so happy to be back with you all this season. We have a bunch of great guests that said they would come on the show this season, so let's see how that works out. But I tell you what, two guests that said they would come on, and it's just very, very special that they're on. We have a good friend, Danny Chung, and I was working an event recently, and Danny told me about Paul and Courtney, and he told me all about the Roadie Clinic and how they're helping people. And when he told me that, I was just like, man, I would love to have them on The Spice. And I hit them up on their social media. I got a reply right away. And, you know, we have a lot of the same friends. And it really touches my heart what they're doing. You know, when people are out on the road, you know, it's not the glamorous life that a lot of people make it out to be. You're away from your families. You're dealing with issues. You're lonely. You know, you're by yourself. You know, I used to say that it's hotel rooms and arenas, you know, and like, you know, watching the show from the side of the stage isn't anything like watching from the crowd. You know, it's a blessed life if you're able to live it, but it has its hardships, and that's where Paul and Courtney came in. They had an idea to start the Roadie Clinic, and that's theroadieclinic.com. You can check that out, and they are just there to help people in the touring industry. And I'm not going to talk too much more about it because they have all sorts of things to say. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you from the Roadie Clinic, www.roadieclinic.com, Paul and Courtney Clemson. Hey!
Hello.
How are you two?
Oh, great.
So good.
I'm so happy
You've
to
already
have you guys
nailed
on the
two
show.
of our songs.
Yeah, right? I'm doing pretty good. I'm a good DJ. We'll see how good of a DJ I am, because right before we come on the show, my controller crashes, everything crashes. It's like, oh, technology. I tell you what, if I had vinyl, that would not be an issue.
Now you're talking Paul's love language.
Yes. So thank you both so much for coming on the show. And if it's cool with you, we're just going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first song that I have for you is a song that you chose by Daniel Lanois and Emmylou Harris. And it is I Love You. It's a beautiful song. And this song represents the love that you two have for one another. So take us back to the beginning of when you two met and kind of give us like the cliff notes of how we got here today.
Wow.
Well, should
Courtney?
I give my first impression first? Because it's the best part of the story.
Yes, ladies first.
We met for the very first time in a church basement at a potluck dinner, and Paul was there with his first wife, fresh out of high school, and they were there because they couldn't afford to eat, and I was there because my mom was one of the pastors at the church, and I met him, and I was like, you're gross. Ew, just no. And it took about 5 years and a divorce and me getting out of high school and into college. We were always working together. We were always in classes together until he dropped out and went on tour. But the love did not form for a good 5 years.
It's all true.
We got married the week after I graduated college. We promptly moved to Nashville because that's what everybody did. We quickly outgrew Nashville, got very bored very fast, and ended up in New York City, and that'll be part of the story somewhere else. But
Yes, it will.
The relationship came fast, and like we knew the second that we thought we were going to start dating that we were going to inevitably end up married. So the whole process of starting dating and getting married was less than a year, but we'd known each other for 5. So.
Really?
Hell. Yeah.
So maybe Paul wasn't that gross, you know, when he got his hooks in you, that was it.
Yeah, well, the thing with me is I'm that personality where I'm like, no, I'm not going to date you. If I could never see myself ending up with you, I'm not going to waste my time dating you. Why would I do that? Because I was so focused on my career. And this is, you know, before the digital music took over our industry and changed how everything worked. And so back in those days, it was like record labels that's where you went after college. That's what you wanted to do. And that was my focus. And then he showed up and that changed a bit.
Paul steps in and changes the game.
That's what he does,
Totally.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
this song, this is a Paul choice. Daniel Lanois is his favorite of all time. If he could hang out in a room with any one artist, it'd be this guy, and Emmylou Harris is right up there with him.
So an interesting story about that of hanging out in the same room is when we were first in New York, Courtney wanted to get me a birthday present, and we were, struggling because we were just moved to New York and living in a small apartment and, getting the job going. But she found Lanois' assistant had been moved to Kingston, New York, which wasn't far from the city, and knew that I enjoyed his work as well. He worked with one of the bands from our college, the band The Normals. He worked with them in New Orleans on a record, and I love the style. It's kind of like found sound, organic, room tones, everything kind of just big and bolsterous, which was a play off of the Lanois style. But she had found this producer engineer and arranged a coffee with him at his house, Malcolm Byrne, in Kingston, New York. Complete surprise. And that's kind of the Lanois circle meets us in flesh.
And that
That's
was like
very cool.
That was like our third birthday together, and I've completely failed every birthday since for 19 years. You can't beat
You
that,
can't top it.
really. And,
Can't beat it.
So, whoops.
Yeah, sometimes though, if you set the bar that high, you can just admire it, for the rest of your
Right.
life. Like,
Exactly.
remember that?
Can you believe that happened, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Give them a picture of it for another birthday.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Great idea.
All right, we're gonna move on to our second song of the interview.